You ever have one of those days that starts out perfect, like straight out of a commercial grill, sizzling family, laughing sun pouring down like a blessing, and then out of nowhere you find yourself staring down the barrel of the ugliest side of neighborly America? Yeah, that happened to us. Let me paint you a picture. I'm standing by the grill, tongs in hand, flipping my dad's legendary marinated chicken temptations, my girl floating through the air, and suddenly I hear this voice, sharp, shrill, mean as vinegar, coming over our fence. You people and your loud jungle music need to turn that racket off before I call animal control. Animal control. Like we were a pack of strays, not a family just trying to celebrate surviving a tough couple years. I just froze. My mom, sitting at the table fussing over her famous 7-layer dip, stopped mid-scoop. My dad went stone silent, just stood there looking like he'd seen this movie before. My wife put her glass down so slow I thought the world might stop with her. Her braids caught the sunlight, and her look could have curdled milk. We'd lived here 3 years of block parties, borrowed sugar, waving to folks we barely knew, mowing the grass like it was a point of pride. But all it took was one day, one word, you people, to turn us into outsiders. The thing is, this was supposed to be a day for the memory books. First big reunion since, well, everything went off the rails. My wife planned it like a general color-coded charts and all. My job, grill master and chief vibe curator. And up until that moment, the vibes were golden. Cousins rolling up after a decade, aunts hugging like they meant it, kids running wild, and the air thick with the smells of charcoal and Aunt Carol's pound cake. Just black joy, pure and simple, built on years of sweat and overtime, scraping together every penny for this little piece of the American dream. And now this woman, neon pink tracksuit hair, wild eyes, cold, wanted to steal it with a single sentence. I took a breath, tried to use my calm, reasonable voice, the one every black man in America knows. "Ma'am, it's just a family reunion. Music's not even that loud." She scoffed, full-on Broadway performance. "Not that loud I can hear the thumping in my living room. This is a respectable neighborhood." And she let her eyes linger just a beat too long, making sure I caught her meaning. Respectable, as if we weren't. My wife stood beside me, 5'6", but a giant in that moment. "With all due respect, this is our property. We're within city ordinance for noise. We'll turn it down if you want, but we're not turning it off." The woman's finger jabbed at my wife. "You've got a real mouth on you, don't you? I know your kind. You move in and think you can do whatever you want. Not in my neighborhood." She whipped out her phone. "I'm calling the police. There's a disturbance, a very aggressive disturbance." And just like that, the party was over. She might as well have thrown a grenade. The word aggressive hung in the air like a threat. My dad grew up in the deep South, back when a wrong word could get you killed, put a hand on my mom's shoulder. My uncle, life of every party, arms crossed and face tight with disgust. The kids stopped playing, suddenly alert to a shift they couldn't name. One niece started crying, soft little hiccups, and the woman just kept pacing the fence phone, glued to her ear, painting herself as the victim. She squawked into 911, dialing up the drama. "There's a large gathering, it's hostile. I'm an elderly woman, I'm scared for my safety." My jaw locked. She was the one yelling racist garbage in our yard, but she knew exactly what story to spin for the cops. My wife nudged me. "Record this. Now." So I did, hand shaking, just as she delivered her big closing line. "They're all just staring at me. It's very intimidating. Please hurry." And she hung up triumphant. We sat at the patio table, hearts pounding, watching her stand guard like she was waiting for backup. Every car that passed made my stomach clench. The music faded out, replaced by silence and dread. My mom rearranged cutlery with trembling hands, trying to pretend it was fine. My dad just held her solid as ever. I stared at that woman and felt something deep and old rising up, anger, sure, but more than that, a bone-deep exhaustion. When the cops finally rolled up 2 cruisers, no sirens, I felt my chest seize. The woman ran to them, suddenly, frail voice trembling as she pointed at us. "Thank God you're here." They surrounded me. We were 50 feet away, sitting at a table, but her story was already written. The older cop with a tired mustache and eyes that said he'd seen it all ambled over. My wife stood up, polite but steel in her voice. "Officers, This is our home. We're having a family reunion." The cop grumbled about a disturbance, loud music, aggressive behavior. I told him the only aggression came from the woman who called them. I held up my phone. "I have it on video." He barely glanced at it. "Let's all calm down," he said, like he was shooing away a nuisance. He turned to my dad. "Were you here for this?" My dad's voice was quiet but cut through the air. "I've been here 75 years. I know what this is." The cop didn't have an answer for that. Instead, he turned back to us. "So you'll turn the music off?" It felt like a punch. After all the insults, the lies, the humiliation, the solution was for us to just shut up. My wife was having none of it. "We will not be treated like criminals in our own home. We have done nothing wrong." The officer sighed, the kind of sigh that says he just wants to be done with all this. "Look," he said, "no one's saying you're criminals, but the easiest thing here is for the noise to stop." He ignored the racism, the trespassing, the false report. It was all just a noise complaint. I tried one last time. "It's not about noise. It's about who is making the noise. She called my family animals. She said jungle music. Are you going to address that?" The younger cop shuffled his feet, looking anywhere but at me. The older one's eyes were flat. "It's her words against yours," he said. "I have it on video," I repeated. He just waved a hand. "Sir, I don't have time to watch your home movies. Are you going to cooperate or not? Because if you don't, this becomes a different kind of conversation." The threat was right there, plain as day. If I pushed, he'd turn us into the problem. My dad put a hand on my arm. "Don't take the bait." So I bit it down. "Fine. The music is off. The party's over. Are you happy now?" The woman in pink beamed. "I'm happy that a certain level of decorum has been restored to this neighborhood." The cops nodded, gave her a friendly look, and left without taking a statement, or my name, or asking about the video. We were just another problem solved. As the silence fell, I looked at my family and felt this bottomless pit open up inside me. Everyone started to trickle out. The laughter and joy drained away, replaced by whispers and angry tears. My wife squeezed my hand, eyes blazing. "We can't just let this go." I shook my head, tired to my bones. The cops made it clear. It's our word against hers. She tapped my phone. "No, it's her word against this. You got her on video, right?" I scrolled, heart thumping, and yeah, I'd caught her second rant clear as day. "I know you're kind. You move in and think you can do whatever you want." It wasn't everything, but it was enough. That cold, hard resolve started bubbling up. This wasn't over, not even close. The next morning, my wife dove into public records and found the woman Jean Peterson. Turns out she was a star on the neighborhood's social page, always complaining about unfamiliar cars and the element the new apartments brought in. And oh, look, the president of the HOA, Mr. Henderson, was always right there cheering her on. Suddenly, this wasn't just about one mean old lady. It was bigger a network a machine. We filed a complaint with Internal Affairs, included the video. The sergeant I got on the phone sounded bored, told me to submit online. "It's a process, sir," which is code for "don't hold your breath." A few days later, a letter from the HOA, $500 fine, 6-month probation, and the threat of a lien if we created a hostile environment again. Henderson himself signed it. My wife and I stayed up till 2 a.m., tearing through the bylaws, writing a 10-page rebuttal, attaching every screenshot, every piece of evidence, and sent it to every board member's inbox. We weren't just fighting the fine, we were fighting the rot at the heart of our so-called respectable neighborhood. The eye of the storm was calm. Then came the email emergency HOA meeting, both parties to attend. We prepared for trial, complete with copies of evidence, timelines, and even a mock opening statement. But then a twist. My cousin's friend Jamal had caught everything on video and, fueled by righteous anger, posted it to TikTok and Twitter. The thing went viral, millions of views, support pouring in, but also trolls and threats, and suddenly we were the latest headline in a national culture war. At the HOA meeting, the air crackled. Our neighbor showed up looking like a church grandma lawyer in tow and played the victim card for all it was worth. Her lawyer spun a fairy tale about poor Jean bullied by a hostile mob. But when my wife played the video for the room, the lie fell apart. Then Mr. Gable, the old man with the prize roses, stood up. I heard everything. She called it jungle music. It was wrong. It was a damn shame. Others joined in, neighbors, silent, until now finally speaking out. Henderson tried to regain control, but it was over. The board voted to drop the violation, issued a warning to Jean. And miracle of miracles, Henderson resigned. The room erupted in applause. Afterwards, the neighborhood changed. People stopped us to apologize, to offer support, to drop off pies or flowers. The ugliness that had been festering under the surface was finally out in the open, lanced like a boil. Even Jean Petunia Pink became a pariah and eventually moved away. But the real kicker, her husband knocked on our door, eyes full of shame, and spilled the truth. Henderson had been the puppet master all along, angry we'd outbid him for the house, fueling Jean's paranoia, plotting to drive us out. It was never just about noise. It was a vendetta. With new evidence, we went after Henderson and the HOA for housing discrimination. The court case dragged on, Henderson fighting dirty, trying to smear us, but we stood firm. Our community rallied around us. Our lawyer tore through their lies, and when the verdict finally came, the jury awarded us everything. Compensation, punitive damages, the works. Henderson's career tanked, his reputation in shambles, and the HOA was forced to rewrite its rules and train its board. We started a foundation with part of the settlement helping families like ours fight back. It's been a few years now. The new neighbors are a wonderful Vietnamese family, their kids always in the yard, music and laughter filling the air. The scars linger. Yeah, I won't lie, but every time I grill on the patio, I remember who we are, what we survived and what we built together. Our music still plays, our family still laughs, and if anyone ever tries to silence us again, well, they know who they're dealing with. So let me ask you, where do you draw the line when your peace, your dignity, your home are on the line? Would you fight back or walk away? Tell me your story. Let's talk about what justice means right here, right now. And hey, if you've got a neighbor like ours, just know you're not alone and your backyard is yours.